Of the many projects I have as a cigar box guitarist and builder and a tweaker of electronic things, when I see something like this, it becomes an irresistible project. What started out as a late 1940s battery-powered tube radio looked like the ideal candidate for a small practice amp. I'm going to put this on the bench, open it up, and walk you through the process that I went through to come up with a passable guitar amp. Just removing a single screw from the back panel allowed me access to the whole chassis, and the case was pretty cool to look at too. Now, prior to me even thinking about filming this, I had already taken all of the electronics out of the radio. I decided to use the original layout for the 1S5, 1U4, and 3S4 vacuum tubes. For my schematic, I copied two things: a 1-watt JCM 800 copy that someone made, and a Pentaboost project that I also found on the internet. I built the circuit up in stages, starting with the 3S4 power amp section. I did not have the audio transformer that I'm pointing to here. Instead, I used the original speaker, which had a small audio transformer attached. Then I built up the 1S5 and 1U4 preamp sections, and I basically set the volume control full blast. First thing I needed to take care of was this ratty speaker, and I was going to have to replace that original volume knob as well. And there's the remnants of the tuning knob that I'm going to have to ream out with a drill so I can place the 1/4 inch input jack in. This was a colossal mess. Now, for this ratty old speaker, it was pretty dried out and crusty, and I wound up just doing a quick repair using some super glue. This worked okay. Now, for the filament power supply, I built up a voltage regulator using a TL431 and a couple of resistors and capacitors. While my initial test worked okay, and this was pretty easy to wire up, it just didn't have the juice to drive all of the heater filaments. My first test just using the power amp tube was pretty weak, so out came a DC to DC buck converter. For my testing here, I wound up feeding it with a 5-volt power supply from a USB charger and dialing that back down to 1.4 volts for all of the filaments. Now, to get the plate power supply, I used my benchtop power supply. It only went up to 32 volts, but this was enough for me to test out and make sure that it was working. I can build a more beefy power supply later on. Then I gave it the buzz test. Just touching my finger to the tip of the guitar cord gave me a decent buzz coming out of the speaker. Pretty cool. Now let's hook up the guitar and see how the guitar sounds. Now this is pretty quiet, so I had to crank the volume up in post-production here. Pretty cool and gritty sound. All in all, it wound up being a decent little practice amp. The volume is far too low, and that's probably because the tubes are really old and well past their prime. I need to get some more tubes. Thanks for watching, guys.